The door of the honeymoon suite closed behind them with a slow, echoing thud, soft but final, as if the entire world had just been sealed outside. Inside, only two people remained. One trembling, one terrifying. Alina Romano swallowed hard, her hands twisting in the fabric of her white wedding gown, the silks they had carried only hours ago when her life had snow. It belonged to the man standing across the room, Cristiano Moretti, the Sicilian Mafia's coldest king, her husband. He removed his black jacket with unhurried precision, the soft rustle of fabric loud in the stillness aider who never needed to hurry, because nothing and then he looked at her. Not the way a groom looks at a bride, not with warmth or eagerness, no. Cristiano looked at her like she was a vow he intended to keep, a promise he intended to claim. He stepped closer, his voice low and deep, carrying the weight of a man who had lived in darkness for tonight. He murmured, "You'll take all of me, even the parts I've never given anyone." The words slid over her like heat, like danger, like a future she had never asked for. Alina's breath hitched. She had known this wedding was arranged. She had known her family needed protection. She had known Cristiano Moretti was a man carved from steel and storm, but she hadn't known he would say that. Hadn't known he would speak as if giving himself to her was harder than asking her to give herself. Her voice trembled. "Cristiano, I don't know how to be what you want." He paused. A flicker, quick, unreadable, crossed his eyes. Not anger, not impatience, something darker, something almost vulnerable. He approached her slowly, giving her every chance to step away, though they both knew she wouldn't. When he reached her, he lifted one hand and touched her cheek with the back of his knuckles. The GS hands had ended lives. "You don't have to know," he said quietly. "You just have to be mine." Her knees nearly gave out, because in his voice, there was something she hadn't expected. Want not lust, not ownership, want as. If he'd waited years to say those words. Soft crack echoed from outside the window, too, sharp to belong to the fireworks, still dying over fencing like a beast ready to strike. His hand slid to the gun at his side, hidden beneath the waistband of his tailored trousers. "Don't move," he whispered. The room became ice. Alina's heart hammered painfully as Cristiano crossed to the window in 3 silent steps. He scanned stretching toward the see nothing, but his jaw clenched. He sensed danger the way other men sensed rain. He walked back to her slowly, the storm still flickering behind his eyes. His finger lifted her chin, steadying her trembling. "They will not take you from me tonight," he murmured. "No one will." She didn't know who they were. She didn't know why her wedding night felt like the beginning of war. But she knew this. Cristiano Moretti would kill for her, and tonight, he intended to claim her as her husband, as her protector. As the man who had just vowed to give her every part of himself, whether she was ready or not. And for the first time, Alina wondered, was she marrying a monster? Or the only man in the world who would ever truly be hers? 3 weeks before the wedding night that changed everything, Alina Romano still believed her life was she believed mornings would always start with her, delivering pastries at her father's bakery, that afternoons would always be spent sketching dresses she would never wear, and that evenings would end with her mother humming Sicilian lullabies while stirring soup on the tea. She believed her world was small, peaceful, safe, but peace in Sicily was a fragile thing, always one whisper away from shattering. It shattered the day he walked into their bakery. Cristiano Moretti. He didn't arrive like a customer. He arrived like a storm. The bell over the door chimed once, and then silence fell. Heavy, expectant. Even the oven seemed. He entered in a black suit that didn't crease, didn't soften, didn't belong in a place filled with fed the air, made it colder, sharper, dangerous, and Alina, carrying a tray of cannoli, froze mid-step. She had never seen a face carved like that. Strong, cold, beautiful in a way that hurt to look at. The eyes that held violence, eyes that held history, eyes that, when they slid to her, held something she couldn't name. He didn't speak. Not at first. He merely stared at her, as if memorizing her, as if he'd been searching. For her. Her mother stepped out from the back room and immediately stiffened, her face draining of color. "Signor Moretti," she whispered. bowing her head slightly. We weren't expecting you. Cristiano's voice was low, rich, and strangely calm. I'm not here for business, Signora Romano. He was lying. Everyone knew it. Cristiano Moretti never appeared anywhere without a reason. He turned back to Alina. She felt the weight of his gaze like heat against her skin. Your daughter, he said quietly. I need to speak with her father, now. Alina nearly dropped the tray. Her father appeared moments later, wiping flour from his arms, smiling nervously. Signor Moretti, Cristiano cut him off. I want your daughter's hand. The bakery went silent. Alina's heart slammed against her ribs. My hand? She whispered, voice small. Cristiano looked at her then, directly, intensely. Not like a man asking for a bride, but like a man claiming what he had, already decided was his, yes. He said softly, deadly calm, your hand. Your future, your protection. Her mother stepped forward quickly. Signor Moretti, she is 18, he said, grown and untouched. His eyes flicked to Alina. A purity I intend to guard, not steal. Alina felt heat rush to her cheeks. No man had ever spoken of her like that, like she was something. Her father swallowed. Why her? You could choose any girl in Sicily. Cristiano's jaw tightened. There are reasons. His eyes softened by a fraction. She's the one I want. Her mother's voice trembled. Is someone threatening her? Is that why? Cristiano didn't answer, but his silence was answer enough. Alina stared at him, her voice barely a whisper. Do I have a choice? Those dark eyes locked onto hers, and for a heartbeat the coldness cracked. No, he said honestly, but I will never force you to suffer at my side. A pause, only to stand beside me. He looked at her as if he already knew she would, as if she had always been his fate. And in that moment, with flour in her hair, fear in her chest, and a mafia king staring at her like she was his future, Alina understood one thing. Her ordinary life was over. Cristiano Moretti had chosen her, and he did not choose lightly. The Moretti villa did not look like a home. It looked like a fortress carved into the Sicilian hillside, towering stone walls, iron gates, guards standing so still they could have been statues. Every inch Alina Romano wasn't a fool. She was simply chosen. And choice had never felt so heavy. Cristiano had sent a car for her, sleek black and silent, as if it too feared making noise near his strap of her bag, watching olive trees blur past. She wasn't being taken to a man, she was being taken to a world. When the gates opened, the car rolled forward with the slow reverence of a funeral procession. The Miss Romano, he's waiting. Her throat tightened. She stepped out, heart thundering as she took in the villa's entrance. Arched doors, ancient stone, lacrettes, and then she saw him. Cristiano Moretti stood at the top of the steps, hands in his pockets, posture flawless. Gaze unread in his domain, Alina's breath caught. He descended the steps with unhurried grace, each step quiet, controlled, powerful. As he approached, his eyes met hers. Something electric hit her chest, sharp, stunning, terrifying. He stopped just one step above her, forcing her to lift her chin to meet his gaze. That small dip for Alina. Her name sounded different in his voice. Deeper, heavier, wanted. She nodded. Cristiano. The faintest curve touched the corner of his mouth, not a smile. Reaction he'd tried not to show. Follow me, he murmured. There are things you need to understand. He turned, and she followed him into the villa, into a hall lined with marble, gold accents and oil, men like Cristiano. You're quiet, he noted without looking back. I don't know what to say. You don't need to say anything yet. Then he glanced over his shoulder. But you will. They entered a study with high windows and a heavy mahogany desk. He closed the door behind them, whiter, heavier, intimate in a way that made her stoma. He motioned toward a chair. She sat. Cristiano stayed standing, watching her, studying. Her, like she was a puzzle he intended to learn. Piece by piece, she finally found her voice. Why me? He stiffened. A muscle moved in his jaw. He walked closer, slowly, then placed one hand on the wooden desk beside his. His cologne drifted. Between them, dark, intoxicating, dangerous. You keep asking that, he said softly, and you think I'll give you a simple answer. Her breath trembled. Won't you? It's not simple. His eyes lowered to her lips for a split second, uncontrolled, unguarded, before he dragged them back. I don't pick wives. I don't do arranged marriages. I don't let anyone choose for me. Then why choose me? She whispered. Cristiano exhaled sharply, quietly, as if holding something back. He lifted her chin with 2 fingers, firm, but gentle. Her skin burned under his touch, because, he murmured, the first time I saw you, you didn't look away. Her eyes widened. When did you? Before the bakery. Before your father knew. His voice dropped, barely audible. You looked at me like I was still human. Alina's heart faltered. Cristiano straightened abruptly, stepping away, hiding whatever had slipped out, whatever weakness her presence stirred. He turned his back to her. This marriage will protect you. It will protect your family, and it will bind you to me. A pause. She blinked. Not even. What happens on the wedding night? Cristiano froze. His shoulders rose with a slow, deliberate breath. He turned halfway, eyes darker than she'd ever seen. No, he said, and the fire simmering beneath his control flickered. I will wait. Even if it kills me. Her pulse raced. He walked to the door, opened it, and paused. Come, Alina. His voice softened. It's time you saw what your life beside me will look like. She followed him, heart trembling with fear, and something she was afraid to name. Alina did not expect the Moretti villa to have quiet corners. She imagined danger in every room, sham every hallway, and those things were there. But so was something she didn't expect. Warmth, not from the guards, not from the marble archways or the sun-washed courtyards, but from him. Cristiano walked ahead of her, the distance between them carefully measured, close, enough that she could overwhelm her. But even from a few steps away, he led her to a smaller sitting room overlooking the sea. It was beautiful, almost gentle, an imposite, he said quietly. He didn't command. He didn't intimidate. He simply asked. Alina lowered herself onto the velvet sofa. Cristiano remained standing, framed by the window, sun-laying lines of gold. He exhaled, long and controlled. There's something you need to know, he said, her fingers curled together. About the marriage? No. His eyes softened. About the danger. A chill slipped down her spine. My family is in danger? He nodded once. The gesture was small, but the weight behind it felt like an earthquake. There are men who want power, he said, and there are men who want revenge. Unfortunately, both gear. Her heart tightened. But my father isn't part of the mafia. We run a bakery. Cristiano sighed, a sound rare from him, a sound that almost cracked the steel of his composure. I know, and that is why they want him. She blinked. What do you mean? Cristiano walked toward her, every step steady, purposeful. He stopped a few feet away, close, enough that she didn't have to retreat. There is a man, Cristiano said lowly. Marco Vitale. My cousin. Even his name tasted like venom in Cristiano's mouth. Marco has been trying to undermine me for years. He cannot touch me directly, so he targets those Walina swallowed. My family? Cristiano nodded. He believes harming you would weaken me. Her lips parted. Why? Why would hurting me weaken you? You barely know me. Cristiano's gaze locked onto hers. Still. Sharp, vulnerable, in a way that unsettled her. I know you more than you think, he said softly. And I will not let anyone touch a hair on your head. Alina felt her chest tighten. Fear tangled with something warmer, heavier, more confusing. What does this have to do with marrying me? She whispered. Cristiano moved closer, slowly lowering himself to sit beside her. The sofa dipped under his weight. When you are my wife, he said, no one can approach you. No one can threaten you. You become unto deepened, untouchable because you are mine. The words wrapped around her like silk. And chains. So you're offering protection? She whispered. And in return, I give you a marriage. Cristiano's jaw flexed. In return, you give yourself a future. A safe one. But what do you get from this? It slipped out before she could stop it. Cristiano's eyes lingered on her face, her lips, her lashes, her trembling hands. And for a moment, you already know the answer, he murmured. Her breath hitched. We marry, he continued softly. Your family is shielded. No one touches you, ever. You will have G, and my life becomes yours, she whispered. He held her gaze. No, your life becomes safe. What you share with me will be your choice. Her voice trembled. Even intimacy? Cristiano inhaled sharply. Quiet. Pained, controlled, yes, he said. I would never take what you aren't ready to give. Alina looked at him then, really looked. Beneath the power, beneath the danger, beneath the monstrous, there was a man terrified of failing her. A man who would burn down. Sicily, to keep her breathing, she whispered, I accept the deal. Cristiano closed his eyes for one heartbeat, just one, before opening them. Again, relief, possessiveness, something like devotion, all flickered there. Good, he said softly. From this moment on, you are under my protection. And without touching her, he made her feel owned. Alina expected lessons in etiquette. Maybe instructions on how to sit beside a mafia boss, without embarrassing him. Maybe warnings about enemies or rules she had to obey. She did not expect to find herself standing on polished wooden floors inside a private training room, walls lined with mirrors, soft mats, and a rack of weapons she did not dare look at too closely. Cristiano stood in the center of the room, sleeves rolled to his elbows, exposing forearms, carved wide, seen him without a suit jacket. She stared before she could stop herself. He noticed. He always noticed. You'll need to defend yourself, he said, tone calm but edged with something deeper. I won't always. Her stomach tightened. I've never fought anyone before. You will learn. He gestured her forward. Come. She stepped onto the mat. Cristiano moved closer, stopping just a breath away from her. Close enough was enough that her pulse stumbled. His voice lowered. Lesson 1. If someone grabs your wrist... Before she could react, his hand circled her wrist. Firm. Controlled. Careful not to frighten her. The soft skin. You don't pull away. You rotate. He guided her hand with slow precision, his other hand sliding to her elbow to adjust her posture. Except it wasn't. His breath was warm, against her ear. His chest brushed her shoulder. Every correction. Every shift felt intimate. Try it alone, he murmured. She swallowed hard and attempted the move. He watched her intently, too intently. The kind of gaze again, he instructed. Looser. You're tense. I can't help it, she whispered. His eyes softened. Just for a second, I know. He took her wrist again. But this time, something went wrong. Or maybe it went too right. She moved, twisting the way he'd taught her, and suddenly, Cristiano reacted as if facing a real threat. His body turned sharply, his grip tightening, his other hand catching her waist. He pinned her back against the wall in one swift, instinctive motion. Her breath escaped in a shocked gasp. Cristiano froze. Every muscle went rigid. His fingers loosened. Instantly, his chest rose and fell, sharp and uneven, brushing hers with every breath. His voice was barely a whisper. Alina. She stared up at him wide-eyed, heart racing so loudly it felt like the room echoed it. Cristiano's gaze moved over her, face horrified at himself, and yet unable to step away. I shouldn't have... He clenched his jaw. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. You didn't. As she breathed, his eyes snapped to hers, searching, doubting, wanting. You're shaking, he murmured, his hand hovering near her cheek but never touching. I'm not scared, she whispered again, softer this time. It's just... You, his control faltered. Not broken, not lost, just cracked. The way men like him should never crack. He lowered his forehead toward hers, stopping just an inch away, close enough to feel his breath ghost across her lips. Alina, he whispered, voice hoarse. You have no idea what you do to me. Her chest tightened. Then tell me. He exhaled shakily, stepping back as if saving himself, or saving her. No. His voice was low, strained, almost tortured. If I tell you, I won't stop at words. She felt the loss of his closeness like a sudden cold wind. Cristiano turned slightly, rubbing the back of his neck, a gesture she had never seen from him. Volna, we're done for today. She hesitated. Because of what happened? No. He looked at her, eyes dark and burning. Because if you stay any longer, I won't be able to walk away. Her breath caught, slowly. Cristiano opened the door for her, but his hand trembled slightly against the wood, the Sicilian mafia king, shaken by her. And as she stepped out, she knew one thing with terrifying clarity. This slow-burn attraction, was no longer slow. It was a fire neither of them could control. The villa was quiet, but not completely. The wind whispered through the olive trees, brushing the stone walls, and the faint sound of waves crashing against the cliffs below made a soft, constant rhythm, like a heartbeat beneath the night. Alina stepped onto the terrace, the cool marble under her bare feet sending shivers up her spine. The moon hung low and bright, silvering everything it touched. And there, leaning against the balustrade, was Cristiano Moretti, her husband-to-be, the man who had haunted her every thought since the bakery, since the first glance that had felt like fate. He didn't turn when she approached, but she knew he sensed her. "Beautiful night," she said softly. Almost a question. He exhaled, a low sound, almost a sigh. "It is," he admitted. His eyes, dark as midnight, finally flicked toward her. "But nights are rarely quiet here. Danger has a way of finding silence." Alina's stomach tightened. Danger had a name, and tonight it wasn't outside. It was in the space between them. She hesitated, searching his face for a crack in that stoic armor he always wore. "Cristiano, I need to know something. Why me?" Her voice trembled slightly. "Out of everyone, why choose me?" The question hung in the air like smoke, curling and twisting around them. Cristiano's jaw tightened. He didn't speak immediately. Instead, he looked at her, really looked at her, the way no one else ever had, the way that made her feel both exposed and cherished at the same time, the way that made her heart race without warning. Finally he spoke, and the words were low, measured, and heavy with truth. "Because," he said slowly, deliberately, his gaze never leaving hers, "you look at me like I'm more than the monster they say I am." Her breath caught. Her chest felt impossibly tight. Those words, simple, devastating, real, struck something deep in her. I don't know what to say," she whispered, voice trembling. "You don't need to say anything," he replied, stepping closer. The air between them shimmered. The danger, the tension, the heat. It was all there, palpable. "Just stay." She stepped toward him. He didn't move back. The terrace felt smaller, the night heavier, as if the moon had pulled them into its orbit alone. His hand lifted slowly, almost reverently, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. She shivered at the touch. His breath was warm, uneven against her skin. They were close enough to feel each other's heartbeat. Close enough that the world and all its violence seemed to vanish. She tilted her head slightly, lips parted, wanting, no, needing to cross the invisible line. He leaned in. She did too. And in that instant, when the world held its breath and the moonlight held them, suspended, they almost kissed. A sudden sound shattered the moment. A door slammed open somewhere behind them, the echo slicing through the night. Cristiano's eyes snapped toward the noise, jaw tight, every muscle suddenly alert. He stepped back, his hand falling from her hair. His body was a taut wire of control and restraint, and for a second Alina saw the predator again, the man who ruled Sicily with fear and fire. She swallowed, heart pounding, the warmth between them lingering. "Tomorrow," he whispered, voice rough, low, haunted. "Tomorrow everything changes." Her chest rose and fell. "Yes," she said softly. "Tomorrow." They stood there side by side, under the moonlight, neither speaking, both aware that something had shifted, something fragile, terrifying, beautiful. Tomorrow she would become his wife. Tonight, she had almost kissed the man who had already claimed every part of her heart, and the memory of that near kiss, of his whispered words, of the warmth and danger swirling together, would haunt her until then. The night wrapped them in silence once more, heavy with longing, tension, and the unspoken promise of what was to come. The sun rose over Sicily like molten gold, spilling across the vineyards and the cliffs, gilding the waves with fire. But for Alina Romano, the beauty of the day was swallowed by a knot of fear, twisting in her stomach. Today, she would marry Cristiano Moretti, the man who ruled Sicily with whispers and violence, the man who had claimed her heart long before he claimed her hand. The villa was alive with preparation, servants rushing, flowers being arranged, the scent of jasmine mingling with the faint tang of danger that lingered in every corner. Alina stood before the mirror, adjusting the delicate veil, heart racing. Her reflection stared back at her, soft, trembling, innocent, and yet about to step into a world she barely understood. Beautiful, a voice murmured behind her. Cristiano. She turned. He was flawless, black suit tailored to perfection, the sharp line of his jaw catching, the morning light. But it was his eyes that struck her. Dark, calculating, yet soft with an intensity, reserved only for her. "You're ready," he said. Not a question. A statement. Alina's lips trembled. I think so." He stepped closer, close enough that she felt the heat of him brush her skin. "Remember," he whispered, "today is more than a ceremony. It's a statement. To our families, to our enemies, to anyone who would dare threaten you." She swallowed hard. "I'm not just marrying you. I'm stepping into your world, aren't I?" His gaze softened briefly. "Yes, but you won't be alone." The ceremony began in the villa's courtyard, a sweeping space overlooking the cliffs, lanterns, swaying with the breeze. Guests murmured, guards positioned at every entrance. Every face held expectation, some awe, some fear. Alina's heart pounded as she stepped forward. Each step felt heavier than the last. Yet with every footfall, Cristiano's gaze anchored her, steadied her. When she reached the altar, he was waiting, hands behind his back, posture flawless, but when his eyes met hers, the world fell away. "Alina," he murmured, voice low but clear. "Today I vow to protect you, to claim you, and to ensure nothing, no one ever harms you." Her hands trembled in his. "I vow to stand by you, to trust you." A faint murmur ran through the crowd. But their words, their vows weren't for anyone else. They were for each other. And then, a shadow moved near the edge of the terrace, someone who shouldn't be there. Cristiano's jaw tightened, a subtle shift that only Alina noticed. Danger, as always, lurked nearby, but he didn't falter. He kissed her hand lightly, then whispered in her ear, almost a private vow. "No one will touch you. Not today, not ever." The officiant's voice carried over the terrace, binding them legally, ceremonially. But in that instant, Alina felt it, the unspoken truth of their marriage. She was not just his wife. She was his responsibility, his obsession, his world. When they were pronounced husband and wife, Cristiano stepped forward, cupping her face in both hands. He lowered her slightly, lips brushing hers in the faintest, most deliberate touch. Not a kiss for the world, a promise. Alina's breath caught. The moment was electric, charged with desire, devotion, and danger all at once. A servant's clatter in the distance startled them, and he pulled back, eyes blazing, chest rising. Rapidly, his fingers lingered on her cheek, holding her close, a silent warning to the world. No, one could touch her. As the crowd cheered, Alina felt the weight of her choice, the dangerous, intoxicating life she had agreed to. But beside Cristiano, she knew one truth. No matter the threat, no matter the blood, no matter the darkness, they would face it together. And for the first time, fear and desire intertwined perfectly in her chest. She had married a mafia king, and somehow she was ready. The villa slept in uneasy silence as the moon climbed high over Sicily, casting silver light across the sprawling estate. Inside, Alina's heart beat, too loudly to hear anything else. Tonight was no longer a ceremony. Tonight was the moment she and Cristiano truly became one. Legally, emotionally, dangerously, she walked through the corridors, her wedding dress whispering over the marble floor, each step heavier than the last. The bridal veil had been removed, leaving her hair loose, cascading around her shoulders. She felt exposed, vulnerable, and aware of every step she took toward him. He waited in the suite, the door open just enough to allow the moonlight to trace the sharp lines of his silhouette. His black suit was gone, replaced by a crisp white shirt with sleeves rolled to his elbows. The faint scent of him, cologne, leather, and something inherently dangerous, filled the room. Alina swallowed hard. "Cristiano." Her voice trembled. He turned slowly, his gaze immediately locking onto hers. Dark, commanding, soft only for her. "You're trembling," he said quietly, stepping closer. Each movement, deliberate, measured. Not a predator, yet not entirely safe. She stopped. Words faltered. Her chest felt tight, trapped between fear and longing. Cristiano's eyes softened just enough to betray the man beneath the legend. "It's all right," he murmured. "I'll never hurt you. Unless it's necessary." Her lips parted. "Necessary?" He shook his head slightly, exhaling. Not in this room. Not tonight. He extended a hand. Come to me. Her heart leapt. She hesitated, then moved forward, letting him guide her, toward the center of the suite. The air around them hummed, tension, heat, anticipation, all wrapped in the quiet elegance of the moonlit room. Cristiano circled her slowly, studying her. Not like a man assessing a woman, like a king assessing a jewel he had just claimed. You are mine, he said softly. And yet, everything I want is your choice. Her pulse quickened. Everything? He nodded. Every heartbeat, every breath, every thought you allow me to touch. Her chest tightened. She had never heard words so simultaneously, terrifying and intimate. He reached out, brushing her hair from her face, fingers lingering against her cheek. She felt heat bloom across her skin, a pulse she had never felt before. Do you trust me? He asked. She swallowed. Yes. A flicker of a smile, almost tender, crossed his lips. Good. Then let's begin slowly. No rush, no fear, only us. He drew her close, careful yet impossibly magnetic. Her hands rested against his chest, feeling the hard muscles beneath the soft fabric. His hand found hers, holding it, pressing reassurance and desire into her palm. The room seemed to shrink around them, leaving only the two of them. Two, hearts pounding in sync. He leaned down, close enough that she could feel his breath, warm and intoxicating. Alina, he whispered, voice low, rough. Tonight, you will know me, and I will know you. Her chest tightened. She nodded, words lost in the intensity of his gaze. He kissed her forehead, gentle, a promise, then her temple, a warning. And then he paused, eyes searching hers for consent. She nodded again. He pulled her closer, not a passionate, reckless kiss, but one slow and measured, deliberate, electric in its restraint, heavy with unspoken desire. They broke apart slightly, foreheads touching, breathing mingling. Neither could speak. Outside, the night continued, unaware of the storm brewing inside that room. The storm of first touches, of trust, of passion withheld yet fully. Alive, and Alina understood for the first time. Marrying a mafia king was not just a binding of hearts. It was stepping into a world where love and danger collided, and where surrender could be the most powerful weapon of all. The night stretched on, long and intimate, filled with whispered confessions, soft touches, and the promise of more. Slow, careful, intoxicating. Tonight they were husband and wife, and they were only beginning to know each other. The sun rose over Sicily like a pale, trembling witness to the night's secrets. Alina woke to the soft golden light spilling through the curtains, the scent of the sea carried in on a gentle breeze. For a heartbeat, she imagined the world was safe, that the villa was just a home and not a fortress. But the faint metallic tang in the air told her otherwise. Cristiano was already awake, sitting on the edge of the bed, his posture taut, every muscle coiled like a panther. His gaze was fixed on the terrace. Beyond the window, dark eyes scanning the horizon, even though it appeared empty. Alina swallowed hard. Cristiano? What is it? He didn't turn immediately. Then, with the slow precision of a man trained to see danger before it arrived, he said, "They've come for us." Her breath caught. Who? Marco Vitale, he said, his voice low and lethal. My cousin, he's taken this personally. Threatened you last night. Tested my patience. Now he's making his move. Alina's stomach twisted. What do we do? Cristiano stood abruptly, every inch of him radiating authority and danger. What we always do, we protect what's ours. Before she could protest, the sound of engines roared in the distance, growing louder. Shadows moved across the courtyard, figures darting. Along the stone walls, guards scrambled, weapons drawn, but Cristiano moved faster, a silent, commanding presence that radiated control. He pulled her close, hand gripping her wrist with careful urgency. Stay. Behind me. No one touches you. Not today. Not ever. Alina nodded, her pulse hammering. Fear and awe warred inside her. She had married a king of Sicily, a man feared by all who opposed him. But to see him in action, fully alive in his element, was terrifying and intoxicating. Gunfire echoed from the gardens. Cristiano moved with lethal grace, stepping into the open with his men, scanning for threats. Every step, every gesture precise, controlled, deadly. Alina watched, heart racing. She saw not just a mafia boss, but a man, willing to spill blood for her safety, for their future. A shadow darted from behind a fountain, a man aiming to strike. Before she could even think, Cristiano was there, fast, silent, unstoppable. He disarmed the intruder, a calculated movement that sent the attacker sprawling, gasping in disbelief. Alina's hands went to her mouth. "Cristiano." He looked back at her, eyes dark and wild, jaw tight, chest rising with adrenaline. His lips twitched in a fraction of a smile, not of joy but triumph. Satisfaction. "You see?" he said softly, still tense. "This is our world, and you are mine. I told you I would protect you." Tears pricked her eyes, not just from fear but from awe, from the realization that this man had already given everything to keep her safe, even before their marriage had truly begun. He stepped back toward her, brushing a lock of hair from her face. The storm outside had passed for the moment, but inside the villa, the echoes of danger still lingered. "Alina," he whispered, voice low, rough, and intimate. "I won't let anyone take you from me. Not Marco, not anyone." She nodded, swallowing the lump in her throat. "I know. I trust you." For a moment they stood like that, husband and wife, protector and protected, hearts beating in sync amid the chaos. But even as the adrenaline faded, Alina understood the truth. Marrying Cristiano Moretti meant stepping into a life where love and danger were inseparable, where every sunrise could bring a storm, and where surrendering to him was both the safest and most terrifying thing she could ever do. She took his hand, feeling strength, heat, and promise all at once. And in that moment, she knew. No matter the battle, they would face it together. The villa was quiet again, but the air inside was thick with secrets. Alina had barely slept, her mind replaying the chaos of the morning. Cristiano's deadly precision, the gunfire in the gardens, the storm of adrenaline that had surged through her chest. She followed him into the study, a room steeped in shadow and history, where the walls were lined with books and family portraits that seemed to watch her every move. Cristiano sat behind the mahogany desk, fingers, laced expression unreadable. "You're tense," he observed quietly, his gaze cutting through her. She hesitated, choosing her words carefully. "I need to understand everything about Marco, about your world, about me in it." Cristiano leaned back, eyes narrowing. "Do you really want to know? Once? I tell you, there's no going back." Alina swallowed. "I need to know." He exhaled slowly, running a hand through his hair. "Very well. Marco isn't just a threat to me. He's dangerous because he wants to control everything I protect, including you." Her breath caught. "Control me?" Cristiano's gaze softened, almost painfully. "He sees you as leverage, way to hurt me. But you're not a pawn, Alina, not to me. You are more than that." She stepped closer, heart pounding. "More than that?" "Yes." He rose, walking toward her with a presence that was both terrifying and magnetic. "You are my wife, my responsibility, my world, and I will do whatever it takes to keep you safe." Alina's eyes filled with tears, not of fear but of awe. "Even if it means killing someone?" His jaw tightened. "Even if it means destroying half of Sicily?" She stepped closer, bracing herself against the edge of the desk. "Cristiano, why me? I still don't understand. Why choose someone like me for a world like this?" His hand lifted, brushing her cheek with the back of his fingers. "Tender, dangerous, intimate. Because you look at me differently. You see past the monster, past the empire. You see me, and that changes everything." Her lips parted. "But what if I can't handle it? What if I fail?" Cristiano's fingers cupped her face, strong yet gentle. Then I will carry you. I will protect you. I will make sure you never have to face it alone. The weight of his words pressed down on her, a mix of desire and fear that left her breathless. He stepped closer, their bodies nearly touching, the heat between them, electric. There is something else you need to know, he said, voice low, dangerous and intimate. Your life, my world, it isn't just about protection. It's about power, secrets, lies, and people who would kill for control. She swallowed hard. I'll learn. Cristiano's eyes darkened, flashing with an emotion she couldn't name: pride, possession, longing. Good. Because once you understand, there will be no turning back. You will be fully mine, and I will be yours. Alina's chest tightened. And Marco? How do we stop him? Cristiano's expression became ice cold. By being smarter, faster, and stronger than he ever imagined. By showing him that no one, not even family, can take what is mine. That includes you. Her heartbeat accelerated, every nerve alive with anticipation and fear. I trust you, she whispered. He tilted his head, forehead brushing hers for a moment. And I trust you, to be my partner in everything, to understand this world, to survive it. For the first time, Alina felt the full weight of their marriage, not the vows or the ceremony, but the real binding, blood, danger, and an unspoken promise that their lives were now inseparable. She looked into his eyes, and in that moment she understood. This was no longer just love. This was survival. This was power. This was their world, and it had just begun. The villa's private training room had never felt so suffocating, or so intoxicating. Cristiano stood at the center, eyes sharp, every muscle coiled like a predator. Alina stepped onto the mat, heart hammering, palms sweaty, the faint tang of leather and iron filling the air. Today, he said, voice low, deliberate, we push your limits, physically and mentally. Her stomach twisted. She had trained with him before, hand to hand. Defensive maneuvers, but this time it felt different. More intense, more personal. Cristiano circled her slowly, evaluating, like a hunter sizing up prey, or, perhaps, like a man measuring the one thing he never wanted to lose. Focus, he murmured, stepping closer. The heat radiating from his body made her pulse stutter. If you lose focus for even a second, it could be fatal. She nodded, swallowing hard. Every step, every instruction felt loaded, with unspoken tension. He demonstrated a move, precise, elegant, lethal. Then he guided her, through it. His hands brushed hers. Light, fleeting, almost accidental, her skin burned at every touch. Again, he said, his breath brushing her ear. Looser, you're too tense. Alina's body responded before her mind could. She twisted, pivoted, following his instructions. But this time, he didn't guide her. He let her falter. Her wrist slipped. Cristiano reacted instinctively. His hand shot out, pinning her wrist against his chest. For a heartbeat, she was trapped, close enough to feel the rise and fall of his breath, the heat of his body, the undeniable tension in his muscles. He froze, then whispered, low and almost vulnerable, I didn't mean to scare you. Her pulse leapt. You didn't, she breathed. The proximity was electric, too close, too intense. And for the first time, she saw the man behind the myth, the king of Sicily, dangerous, commanding, and yet vulnerable in a way that terrified and enthralled her. Cristiano's gaze locked on hers, dark, searching. Alina, do you trust me? She swallowed hard, voice trembling. Yes. He exhaled sharply, stepping back, his hands falling to his sides. The room seemed to exhale with him, the tension lingering like smoke. Good, he murmured. Because trust isn't just about obedience. It's about surrendering control. You must learn to rely on me completely. Her chest tightened. She had surrendered her life, her heart, her future. But each lesson, each close call, reminded her that this man held her in every possible way. Cristiano moved around her again, slower this time, guiding her through a defensive sequence. Every touch, every adjustment of her stance made her pulse accelerate. It was no longer just training. It was a dance, dangerous, intimate, and utterly consuming. "Do you feel it?" he asked softly, voice barely audible. "The rhythm? The timing?" She nodded, breath shallow. "Yes." "Good," he said, voice dark and low. "Because survival and desiring are closely intertwined. Miss one and you lose both." Her stomach fluttered. His proximity, his voice, the brush of his hand against hers. It was all temptation, all tension, all fire. She realized with a jolt that she wanted him in ways that terrified her. Cristiano stepped back, watching her struggle, succeed, falter. And then he smiled. A fraction of a smile, fleeting, controlled. "You're improving," he said, faster, stronger, smarter. Her pulse raced. "Thanks to you." He met her gaze, dark eyes glinting. "No, thanks to yourself. But I'll always be here, guiding you, keeping you safe. Even if it means pushing you to the edge." Alina's chest tightened. She understood now. This training wasn't just about defense. It was about trust, about surrender, about temptation. And every touch, every close moment made her crave him more. Tonight, the fire between them burned brighter, and neither of them could hide from it any longer. The villa was quiet, too quiet. Alina sensed it before anyone spoke. A shift in the air, subtle but undeniable. The kind of silence that preceded storms. The kind of silence that warned you the world outside the walls was still very much alive with danger. Cristiano appeared at her side, his presence like a living shield. His dark eyes scanned the horizon as though he could already see the threat that had not yet arrived. Every line of his body radiated readiness, control, and lethal intent. "Something's coming," he murmured, voice low, almost a growl. "I can feel it." Alina's pulse quickened. "Who?" Cristiano's gaze hardened. "Marco. He's not finished. He never will be. But there's someone else now. Someone from my past I thought I'd buried." Her breath caught. "From your past?" He nodded, jaw tight. "Someone who knows every weakness, every strategy, every bond I've ever formed. And they're using it to come for you." Alina's stomach twisted. "Me?" "Yes. Because you are mine." His hand brushed hers briefly, a fleeting touch of reassurance and possessiveness. "And anyone who touches you, touches me. That's the rule in my world." She swallowed hard, heart racing. "What do we do?" Cristiano's eyes darkened, storm clouds of thought and calculation, flashing behind them. "We prepare, strategize, protect, and strike first if necessary." The sound of engines in the distance shattered the fragile calm. Shadows moved beyond the stone walls, figures approaching with deadly precision. Guards flanked every entrance, weapons ready, but Cristiano's presence alone seemed to command the entire space. "Stay close," he said, voice low, tense. "No one can get to you while I'm near." Alina followed him through the corridors, each step deliberate. The villa had become a labyrinth of anticipation and danger. Every shadow could hide an enemy, every corner could conceal a threat. They reached the study, where maps and security plans were spread. Across the table, Cristiano's fingers traced routes, exits, and choke points, his mind a steel trap. "Marco will attack through the east courtyard," he said, his tone measured, commanding. "But the real threat is the past I left behind. Someone who knows me better than anyone, and who believes I've wronged them." Alina's hands trembled. "Who?" Cristiano's eyes softened for a brief, fleeting moment. "Someone I trusted. Someone I loved. And now, someone who wants to use you to destroy me." Her heart lurched. Fear mingled with something darker. Something that made her pulse race in ways she hadn't felt before. Desire. Trust. A strange, dangerous longing. He stepped closer, lowering his voice to a whisper meant only for her. "But no one touches you, not my enemies, not my past, not even me. Unless you allow it." Alina felt his gaze lock onto hers. Every fiber of her being was aware of him, his strength, his promise. The danger outside faded for a moment. replaced by the intensity inside the room, the storm of emotion that had been building since the day they met. "And if they come?" she asked softly. Cristiano's hand lifted, brushing a lock of hair from her face. "Then we fight. Together." The engines grew louder. Shadows crept closer. The villa held its breath. And Alina realized with chilling clarity that marrying Cristiano Moretti was not just stepping into his world. It was becoming part of a battlefield where love and danger were inseparable. She met his gaze and he nodded once, almost imperceptibly. A silent vow. A promise that he would protect her, whatever it took. And in that moment, Alina understood fully. Their bond was no longer just marriage. It was survival. The past had arrived, and the war had begun. The villa burned with tension, though the flames were only metaphorical for now. Alina's heartbeat drummed in her ears as she followed Cristiano through the dimly lit corridors, every shadow a potential threat. Outside, the estate was under siege. Guards moved like ghosts, weapons ready, eyes sharp. But for Alina, the real danger wasn't just outside. It was the way Cristiano moved, coiled and lethal beside her. "Stay close," he whispered, voice low, urgent. His hand brushed hers, lingering just enough to ignite fire beneath her skin. Alina's pulse spiked. Every nerve in her body was aware of him, his proximity, his strength, his controlled, dangerous presence. Gunfire erupted in the distance. The sound made her flinch, but Cristiano's hand tightened on hers, grounding her. "Don't move unless I tell you." She nodded, breath shallow. Fear and adrenaline collided in her chest. She had married a king of Sicily, a man feared across the island. Yet seeing him in action, seeing him protect her, made her heart ache with a mix of terror and longing. A shadow moved near the eastern wall. Cristiano's eyes narrowed. He pivoted instantly, body a coiled spring of power and precision. In one fluid motion, he neutralized the threat, his movements both deadly and breathtaking to watch. Alina felt her knees go weak. "Cristiano," she whispered, awe and fear threading her voice. He didn't respond immediately. Instead, he moved to her, brushing a lock of hair from her face. The touch was light, intimate, almost dangerous. "You're safe," he murmured. "For now." Her pulse raced. Not from the danger outside, but from him. From the way he made her feel exposed, alive, desired. Cristiano stepped closer, close enough that she could feel the heat radiating from his body. His breath ghosted across her cheek. "Do you trust me?" he asked, voice low, magnetic. She swallowed hard. "Yes," she whispered. He exhaled sharply, tension easing for just a moment. "Good. Because I won't let anything harm you. Not Marco. Not my enemies. Not anyone." The words were a promise and a warning. Another explosion in the distance jolted her, and instinctively she pressed closer to him. Their bodies nearly touched, and the warmth between them was electric. She could feel his heartbeat, the rise and fall of his chest, the controlled tension that made him irresistible. Cristiano's hand brushed her shoulder, lingering just long enough to make her shiver. "This world," he murmured, "is dangerous. And so are we." "Together." Her lips parted. "Together," she echoed, her voice trembling. He leaned down, just a fraction, close enough that she could feel the heat of his breath against her lips. Not a kiss, not yet. But every inch of him screamed possession, desire, and control. Gunfire sounded again, snapping both of them back to reality. He straightened, eyes blazing with calculated fury, and moved toward the source of the threat. Alina's chest tightened. Fear, admiration, and longing, all tangled together. He glanced back at her over his shoulder. Dark eyes softened for only a heartbeat. "Stay behind me," he instructed. And she did. Heart pounding, body trembling, mind consumed by the man who had claimed her, body and soul, long before this battle had begun. Alina realized with every pounding heartbeat that danger and desire were inseparable in this world. that the closer she got to him, the more alive she felt, and the more she wanted him, not just as a protector, but as the man who had conquered her heart. The villa held its breath. The shadows waited, the fire of desire and danger, intertwined in the night, and in the storm of chaos, Alina understood. With Cristiano Moretti, every close call was also a lesson in surrender, trust, and fire. The night was far from over, and neither of them could resist it any longer. The villa, once a sanctuary, now felt like a cage. Alina had never seen Cristiano like this. Tense, shadowed, every muscle, taut with suspicion. The events of the previous night had left echoes in the hallways, whispers of danger that were no longer external, but internal. He led her into the study, where maps, weapons, and folders lay scattered across the desk. The scent of leather and gunpowder lingered, a constant reminder that even their home was a battlefield. "There's a traitor," Cristiano said, voice low, tight with barely contained rage. His dark eyes locked onto hers, but they weren't just looking at her. They were calculating, searching, weighing. Alina's heart skipped. "A traitor?" He nodded, jaw tight. "Someone close, someone I trusted, someone who knows us, knows you." Her pulse quickened. "Who?" Cristiano's eyes darkened further. "I don't know yet, but the betrayal is real. And it's dangerous for both of us." Alina's stomach twisted. Fear, anger, and something else. Something darker swirled within her. She had stepped into his world fully now. Every whisper, every shadow, every hidden smile or glance could be a trap. Cristiano moved toward her, hand brushing hers lightly, a fleeting comfort amid chaos. "You're safe with me," he murmured. "But you need to be cautious. Trust no one outside this room. Not yet." She swallowed hard, nodding. I understand." He stepped back, expression hardening, and gestured toward the files on the desk. "Evidence points to someone feeding Marco information. Someone who's using your presence to manipulate me. They know how to hurt me through you." Alina's breath caught. The vulnerability of it, the way he admitted the threat while trying to shield her, made her heart ache. And it made her pulse race with longing. Cristiano's gaze softened, just slightly, as he moved closer again. His fingers brushed her cheek. "I know this is frightening, but I won't let anyone harm you, not while I breathe." Her lips trembled. I trust you, Cristiano. Even if I don't understand everything, I trust you." He exhaled sharply, leaning down so their foreheads nearly touched. "Good, because trust is the only weapon we have right now, and we'll need every ounce of it." Alina felt the pull of him, the magnetic, dangerous heat that radiated off his body. Every nerve in her body screamed at her to lean in, to let him in, closer, to forget the danger and focus on the fire between them. Cristiano noticed, as always. His eyes darkened, intent, as though reading. Every thought, every desire. "You're mine," he whispered, low and commanding. "And no betrayal, no shadow, no enemy will change that." The words were more than reassurance. They were a promise. And a warning. Alina's breath caught. "Yours completely?" He smiled. "A fraction, dangerous, intimate." "Completely. But to survive, to protect us, you must be vigilant. This is no longer just love. This is war, and the enemy could be anyone." Her chest tightened, fear and desire colliding. She wanted him closer, yet every touch reminded her of the danger surrounding them. The fire of betrayal was hot, and the stakes were higher than ever. Cristiano's hand lingered on hers, fingers entwined. "Stay with me," he murmured, voice husky. "Trust me. Feel the danger, but do not fear it. I will carry us both through this." Alina nodded, heart racing, pulse alive with adrenaline and longing. Outside the walls, shadows moved, whispers of betrayal floating in the night. Inside, two hearts beat as one, tempered by danger, bound by desire, and ready to face whatever darkness awaited. Because in the world of Cristiano Moretti, love was never safe. But it was always worth the risk. The night was alive with tension. The villa, once a sanctuary, now throbbed with danger. Shadows lurked in, corners, every flicker of light a potential threat. And at the center of it all stood Cristiano Moretti, lethal, commanding, unyielding. Alina's heart pounded in her chest. She had never seen him like this, predator and protector combined. Every movement precise, every glance sharp enough to cut. "They're here," he murmured, voice low, controlled but edged with fury. "Marco and the traitor. Both of them think they can challenge me. They think they can touch you." Alina's pulse raced. "What do we do?" Cristiano's hand brushed hers, grounding her. "We end this, tonight." The villa erupted into chaos. Men moved through corridors like shadows, weapons drawn. Alina clutched Cristiano's arm instinctively, the heat of him steadying her, even as danger crackled around them. A figure darted from the darkness, Marco, sneering, cocky, thinking he could intimidate them. Cristiano's eyes narrowed. In one fluid, terrifying motion, he disarmed Marco, sending him sprawling to the floor. Alina gasped. Her breath caught in her throat, but she refused to look away. This man, her husband, her protector, was magnificent, terrifying, and all-consuming. But then, the traitor revealed themselves. Someone Cristiano had trusted. Someone who had threatened not just his empire, but the fragile heart of his wife. Cristiano's hands moved with lethal precision, neutralizing the threat, without hesitation. Yet in the chaos, he never let go of Alina. He pulled her, close, his chest a wall of heat and safety against the storm. "Stay with me," he commanded, voice rough and intimate. "Do not move. Trust me." She nodded, heart pounding, body trembling, not from fear alone, but from the intensity radiating off him, the undeniable pull between them. As the last threat fell, silence returned to the villa. Alina's hands shook, but Cristiano's fingers intertwined with hers, steadying, grounding. He looked down at her, eyes dark, intense, filled with a storm of emotion. "You see now," he murmured, "why I chose you, why I need you, why no one will ever take you from me." Her breath caught. "Cristiano." He stepped closer, brushing a lock of hair from her face, his thumb trailing over her cheek. "I vow," he whispered, voice low and powerful, "to protect you, to claim you, to love you, for the rest of my life. No one, no enemy, no shadow of the past can change that." Her eyes filled with tears. I trust you, completely." A dark smile flickered on his lips, both dangerous and tender. "Good, because from now on, our lives are one. Your heartbeat is mine, and mine is yours, forever." Alina's chest tightened. She had stepped into his world fully, survived danger, and surrendered her heart entirely. The adrenaline and desire still surged, but beneath it was something stronger, unshakable trust. He leaned down slowly, deliberately, capturing her lips in a kiss that was both promise and warning. Not a kiss to satisfy lust alone, but a kiss that sealed their bond, fierce, intimate, and eternal. The villa was quiet once more. Outside, the night stretched into the horizon, calm, but for them, the storm had passed, at least for now. Alina rested against him, body pressed to his, feeling the strength and danger, the love and fire, the promise and protection all at once. In Cristiano Moretti's arms, she understood completely. Love in his world was dangerous. Love in his world was intoxicating. But love in his world was eternal, and she had it, forever. Thank you for joining us on this dark, passionate journey through love, danger, and desire with Cristiano Moretti and Alina Romano. If your heart is still racing from their story, don't let the adventure end here. Subscribe now and never miss the next chapter of a world where love burns hotter than fire and danger lurks behind every shadow. Hit the bell, stay tuned, and step deeper into the captivating world of Mafia. Romance, because the story is far from over, and every heartbeat has a story to tell.